Hi everyone, praise be Jesus and Mary. I am Van Ashley B. Abanil and I am your mentor for today's discussion. So, before we'll proceed to our proper lesson or our proper discussion about the topic, have you ever felt like you're just going around in circles? Nakahunana pa mo dana? Well, that's exactly what we'll be doing today. But this time, in math. No, not in life. Dili sa atong ginabuhi. Though, naay part sa ating discussion nga ma-relate na to siya in our real-life situations. But we're going to focus now about circles in mathematics. So, our topic is the circle. One of the most beautiful and perfect shapes in geometry. A circle is simply the set of all points that are the same distance from a fixed point called the center. And that distance is known as the radius. Fun fact guys, the ancient Greeks called the circle kirkos, meaning a ring. Ring siya, meaning sa kirkos. Because they believed it represented perfection and eternity, like no beginning, no end. Just like your favorite TV series that never finishes, right? So now, we're going to proceed on talking about circle, of course, or we're going to understand what is circle. Alright? So, the circle is truly unique among the conic sections. Diba? Like we have 4 conic sections, man. We have the circle, parabola, ellipse, and hyperbola. But a circle is truly unique among all the conic sections. Like, unlike parabolas or ellipses, it's perfectly symmetrical, you know? Like, every point along the circle is equally distant from the center. That's what makes it special. So, like, whenever you draw one, think of it as a shape that never plays favorites. No, like every point is treated equally. Equal siya sa tanan ang iyahang distance from the center. Ana siya. So now, when we look at the equation, the standard form of a circle is this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equals to r squared. Here, the h and k is the center and the r is the radius. Now, if you try to see in this example, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equals to 16. Notice that the inside of the parentheses, the signs are subtracted from x and y. So, if the equation says x minus 2, it means h is equals to positive 2 and it's not negative 2. So that is why the h is positive 2 and not negative. Now, if it says y plus 3, that is actually similar to y minus negative 3. So it is equals to positive 3. But in decay, it would become negative 3, which is the opposite sign of positive 3. That's why the signs of the center appear to be opposite because of how subtraction works inside the parentheses. And now, to get the radius part, why is it 4? Right? So now, the number on the right side of the equation is r squared, right? The square of the radius. Now, in this equation that is shown here in the example, we have r squared, or the radius squared, is equals to 16. So to find the radius, we take the square root. So we are going to use r is equals to square root 16 is equals to 4. So that is how you get the center and the radius of the standard form, or how are we going to identify. Now we jump into the general form of a circle. Now, not all equations will look this nice. Sometimes we see something messy like this: ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equals to 0. Now, this is called the general form of a circle. Our goal is to turn this into the standard form by completing the square. We don't need to panic about solving this. It's not as bad as it sounds or as it looks. Completing the square just means we're going to reorganize things to make them neat and recognizable. So yeah, let's start. By using this example, x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 8y plus 9 is equals to 0. The first thing we need to do is group the x and y. So it will become x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 8y, and then transfer over the equal sign, the 9, and the sign will be opposite, so it would be equal to negative 9. Okay, next thing we do is x squared minus 6x plus 9. So how are we going to get the 9? By just simply following this small formula or short formula, which is the b over 2 squared. So 6 is our b. So 6 divided by 2 is equals to 3, and then raised to the power of 2 is 9, and that is how we get the 9 value of the x as the constant. So for the other side, the y, we get 16 in the same process. Now this constant will be added into the negative 9. So negative 9 plus 9 plus 16 is equals to 16. So yeah, the next thing we do is to copy x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus y squared plus 8y plus 16. So to get the final answer or the standard form, the first term we need to put the square root as well as the third one. Now by putting the square root, the exponent will be cancelled, so that is why the x will be remain. And for the middle term, you only just copy the sign, which is negative, so put the negative here. And for our last term, we have the square root of 9. So how much is the square root of 9? It is 3. And then put it in the parentheses and squared. And we are going to make the same process as the side of y. And this is how we get the standard form equation from general form. So to identify the center and the radius, the center will be positive 3 and negative 4, and the radius would be 4. So yeah, that is how are we going to get the standard form from general form. So Since we are done in identifying, solving, and graphing, I would just want you to know that circles aren't just for math class. They are everywhere actually. And it is very important, especially when we are going to apply this in our daily lives. Because we see them in wheels, clocks, pizzas, coins, mirrors, and logos, or even orbits of planets. Like, without circles, cars wouldn't move, fans wouldn't spin, and our pizza slices would be chaos, right? So, to wrap it all up, a circle is a set of all points and equidistant from a center. And there are two types of equation in a circle. We have the standard form equation and the general form equation. So, in graphing, we can easily graph it by using the center and the radius of the circle. The circle reminds us of balance, equality, and perfection. It's no wonder it's been loved since ancient times. And remember, if life ever feels like you're just going in circles, at least now you know how to plot your way out of it. Now that ends my topic for today. Thank you. God bless, be blessed, and be a blessing. Take care.